So, with that being said, what else we have going on, Susan? We have the
Happy New Year,
Happy New
and
Year.
by the
Yeah,
way, to
yeah,
everybody.
yeah. 2017. Here we go. And to what we have this new manifesting hour, in which Sandra Hunt, the Huntress,
The Huntress.
is doing this manifesting hour, and it's great because if you want to be a guest on her show, all you do is go on her site, it's free site, free membership, fill out an intention, and send her an email or text, or I should say email, at sandra.hunt@unitedintentions.org, and she could probably get you on the show, and you have a chance to manifest your intention live in front
This
of.
is about if you want to manifest something, you want to create something in your life. She will help you do it live on the air and help point out why it's not happening or where you are along the scale of getting your intention fulfilled. And it's a way to show people how exactly you do that in real life.
Absolutely, and I think that is a critical piece in what we do at this foundation as well as in life. Just think if we all learned this when we were little kids, where we'd be.
Yep.
Like some people just come out knowing it.
Yeah.
Like Susan. So last thing I want to mention is next week. What a great show we have on. This is going to be one of my favorite shows. We have Officer Mark Tappan from here locally, and with his German Shepherd police dog coming in, Maddox, who is just got the Purple Heart for taking a couple of bad guys down. And I mean, this dog climbed a big fence and jumped over and had a lacerated liver. I mean, just was serious damage done, and still went and finished the mission and got the job done.
They don't stop.
They don't
They don't stop. They're so focused.
I know. And also we're having Mike Holbrook, who is a Schutzen trainer, one of the best in town, and he will be here kind of helping people who want to understand about police dogs and protection dogs, and he just doesn't just do German Shepherds or some of the working dogs, herding dogs, but he does also any dogs. He has a little tiny dog do protection work.
I know they're training rescue dogs a lot of the time these days to do all sorts of things.
Sure. So we're trying to put together maybe a little documentary for people to want to do protection work and obedience work with their animals. I have my dogs here today, with their animals, and just think about that, having your little Shih Tzu protecting you, taking down a criminal. Come on.
They're some of the meanest dogs out there.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
So
I can.
So we have a lot going on. So come on to the site, unitedintentions.org, fill out your free membership, and join the movement. So today I'm going to do the intro because I know a lot of you've been on the show all the time, and a lot of people, I don't always do an intro on you, but since we're talking about your bread and butter here, let's talk about you. Susan has owned her own healing practice for 40 years. You would never think, right? Take a look. She incorporated several modalities to address the whole person, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. She works with individuals to get the root cause of any issues. She will share some true stories of incredible healing she has participated in and demonstrate how her process works. And I think you want to get her involved in any of these issues when it comes to hands-on healing, but also the spiritual aspect of it and the emotional aspect of it.
They're all connected.
They're all connected, and she's able to loop it together and really give you an incredible experience in reference to not only physically but also emotionally and spiritually.
Yeah, whole healing.
And the best way to reach you again is through your
my answering service, which is my friend Patty.
a live person, not a voicemail.
She will talk to you directly.
Yeah.
She's been working with me for over 20 years. So she knows my business inside out, and she knows most of my clients. And her number is 770-841-0698. And you can make any appointments with her for massage therapy or counseling. I also teach one-on-one yoga practices, meditation, all of that.
All right. So, God, you got so many different types of therapy. When I was, checking out, you got Swedish massage, right?
Yeah.
Some different massages, I should say.
Yes.
What else we have? We have
Shiatsu, acupressure.
deep tissue, shiatsu. Is that how you pronounce it? Shiatsu is hot. Hot stone is different.
Hot stone is different.
Okay.
Yes.
And then reflexology,
Yes.
right? That's
Traeger, which is
Traeger.
a rocking. It's a rocking all parts of the body in different ways.
My favorite is sports massage.
Yeah, I do. I combine all of them, really.
No, actually, my favorite is pregnancy massage. I just looked at it. Is there really a pregnancy
Yeah,
massage?
I can get your belly right out of the way, Tim. There is, and I do that as well.
get rid of my little pregnancy I got going on.
They actually have.
The dogs are coming in to visit.
Here comes the dogs. Did somebody say massage?
She's okay. She's okay. Sit here. Sit here, girl. Sit.
They actually have pregnancy massage tables with a hole in the middle for the belly to fit in.
Yeah.
But I put pregnant women on their side with their leg over a big body pillow and do each side that way when their stomach is too large for them to lay on any longer.
Right.
But it is one of the most beneficial things when you're pregnant that you could possibly do. If you think about the larger you get, it's like you're carrying around 2 bags of groceries all day long, and at night they're resting on all of your organs when you're trying to sleep. So a lot of women, those lower muscles below the belly are usually a key place that your body will give you messages. When you're overdoing it and you're pregnant, women will usually get little cramps underneath the belly, and that is saying the muscles have been working too hard and it's time to stop what you're doing and rest. But with massage therapy, you can work on those muscles so that they're not constantly taking on more and more strain. And then the other thing is to increase the circulation. That baby is literally pressing against everything inside of you, and it cuts off the circulation down your legs and your feet. So it's a way to keep all of that healthy in the middle of your pregnancy. And it's also great for the baby. The baby is feeling that as well. It's neat because I feel like I've met babies in utero many times and gone through their whole birth cycle with them and then get to see them in person.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
It's really neat.
I would just never think of a pregnant woman getting a massage.
Oh, it's one of the best things they can possibly do.
Hence, I'm not a woman, so I wouldn't know that. But it probably is one of the best things you could possibly do.
It really is. I mean, you think about when your body's making a baby, it is working hard all the time. And when you think about the logistics of that baby and the woman literally carrying that baby, it takes a whole lot out of you, and people know, especially in the 3rd trimester, when the baby is the largest, the mother tends to be so tired and sore and achy a lot of the time. And the other thing is if you're somebody who worries or gets anxiety about all the things, it can help relieve all of that emotional turmoil as well.
Because we hide our emotions in our cells in our body.
Yes.
Yeah. So is there a spiritual origin of massage therapy, or is that kind of like yoga? Yoga is like this pre-work you do before you actually go into meditation. They supposedly, and now we turn yoga into its own little entity, but it's supposed to just be a prep to get you into the meditative state. But what is there
I think massage therapy, just like yoga, babies do different yoga poses in the womb, and so much of yoga is taken from animals and people observing the different things animals do. They just naturally know how to relieve the stress in their bodies and what to do with that. And again, if we go back to pregnancy, an animal knows exactly how to breathe and how to relax itself naturally, which is the best state you can possibly be in for anything, but especially for delivering a baby. The more relaxed you are, the less pressure you put against those contractions and the releasing of pushing that baby out. The more you can relax, the easier that goes. And massage therapy, I believe, is also an innate thing. We have this innate, every mother, when they have their baby, you reach to touch. It's like this natural thing. And I know from the time I was a little kid, I had this natural urge to relieve people. Like if I saw somebody, twisting and their neck hurting, I would just have this inner feeling that I would want to work on their neck and help relieve them and their shoulders. So I think it's something that's kind of innate in being a human. And even animals, you look at how they lick each other all over.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's,
Why is that? I mean,
it's
you know,
not just for cleaning. I mean, they do that to clean themselves. But a mother animal will lick their baby all over,
Yeah.
not just in their genitals
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
So it is like this natural, soothing thing that we have inside of us. And again, it's one of those things I believe that we're born with, but gets trained out of us.
Yeah, because some people are just really anti-touch.
Yes.
They're just.
And
they don't
there's a
like
million
affection.
reasons for
Yeah,
that.
sure.
you know.
But it's not. You're saying it's not a natural reason for that.
No, that's something normally happens along the way to make someone not want to touch another human being or not want to be touched.
Right.
There's usually, and so I've even had some of those people for clients. There's normally the people that I've run into like that who have told me about it. They've had some sort of molestation at young age or whatever.
Right.
But we work through that. I've had people come to me and tell me I haven't been able to let anyone touch me for years. And so we talk and I go at it very gently and slowly, and we develop a trust. And after a while, they become able to be touched and actually wind up liking it a lot.
Well, because now they're getting back their love language. Affection is one of the love languages, and it's a shame that a lot of people lose that.
Well, we know babies will die from lack of touch.
Yeah, and Russia
That's
experiments.
a proven thing.
Yeah.
And they today
think about that. Actually, babies will die from a lack of touch and affection.
Yeah, that should tell you how important it is.
That's just amazing.
Yeah, it's like a life thing for us. It's part of what we are supposed to have as human beings.
Let me tell you something. Affection is one of my love languages. I know
love
that.
it.
Don't you love that?
I love affection.
That's one of my favorite. Like gifts are. Who cares about gifts?
Yeah.
Get hands on. Let's go.
Hug somebody, or we're talking and
Yeah,
you just
yeah,
touch somebody's leg, and there's something that goes so much deeper when you touch someone.
And it has to be appropriate. There's sometimes people who will touch you who are inappropriate.
Oh, some people are in your space and it is totally inappropriate.
Yeah, he's like, don't touch me, don't even get near me.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing.
Right. Yeah, that's one of them. But with massage therapy, it's routine now, and it's a commonplace. It's been commercialized.
Oh, totally.
So
they're on every corner now. Now there are massage chains. I never thought I would see that. Chains of massage.
Oh, companies.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Like McDonald's.
Yeah,
We have what's that one that's everywhere?
Envy.
Envy. Yeah, massage Envy.
Well, they do, and apparently they must be successful. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to do the chain aspect of it. And they also, you go to the mall and you see these.
Yeah,
these
the
guys,
people you just sit in the middle of all that hubbub.
Yeah, I know, chopping you up. But so there's definitely something there. It's going on. It's booming. Now, what has happened since it's been commercialized? What has been lost with massage therapy, in your opinion, since it's been commercialized?
Yeah, for me, I mean, I don't like that it's on every corner and that it's kind of like a assembly line massage.
The Ford assembly line.
But at the same time, I'm thrilled that people have never needed and wanted massage more. But if someone just goes to one of the little spa places or whatever, and I'm not putting anything down because I think there's a place for everything.
Right.
But the majority of those massage places are relaxation type massages. I have found one or two per people. Of course, it's always the person who's doing it. But if you go to a spa massage and you have a major issue in your body, the chances that they're going to be able to fix that are much slimmer than somebody who has been doing it for years and understands all. Like, I still learn stuff. Every single body, everybody's bodies are different, even though we all have the same things. They're all slightly different, and that's because of your life, how we develop. And ideally, our bodies should be symmetrical on both sides, but almost no one's is by the time they grow up. You know, and so then you're looking at, say, a pressure point. We all have the same pressure points in the same spots, but as your body develops, the pressure point on your right side may be an 1/18 of an inch off than what it is on your left side. And if you don't have, to me, what makes a massage therapist really excel is the intuition. You can take every course in the world, but if you don't have that intuitive ability to sense things in your hands, it's like your hands literally are sensing organs. And you can know what to do and where to do it, but if you can't feel like a pressure point, I have found over time that a pressure point has a center that is like a pinhead, the top of a pin. That's how tiny it is. And the center of it, to get really in there, you go into that pinpoint center, and then you activate that pressure point. And as you, like in Shiatsu, which is all pressure point.
That's what Shiatsu is pressure point. It's like acupuncture?
Yeah, it's based on the exact same thing. Acupressure and Shiatsu are very similar. They're all based on the energy systems of the body and all the pressure points in the system. So if you don't have that intuitive ability to know exactly, it's like this, I can't explain it. I just know when I'm there, you know. But if you're like just a little bit off to the side, it's not going to be the same effect. And you hear people talk about, well, I had somebody who was really strong, but it wasn't pleasant, and I wound up bruised. And that's why that happens.
Because they're off on the
They're off the mark. And if you push that same amount of pressure to the side of that point, it's the wrong way to do it, and it's not doing the job. So if I'm holding pressure in the very center of a pressure point, the whole pressure points will hold this buildup in them. A lot of them will take the overflow of tension from a certain area, like when you're on your shoulders, let's say, there's a pressure point.
That's a common one for a lot of your pressure to build up on your shoulders.
Absolutely. It's super common, shoulders and neck. So there are pressure points down below that, like in the back of the shoulder, where if all the muscles, your trapezius muscles and the scapula and all that, if they get so overloaded with tension they can't hold anymore, it starts building in that pressure point and it gets stored there. So, and a lot of the time people won't even feel the pressure point. They're feeling the muscles in pain. But when I go to that point, they go, I didn't even know that was there, because it's this holding place. So if I'm right in the center of that point and applying pressure, it is dramatically releasing large amounts of tension out of that place. And then we've got to flush it. It's releasing it in the whole surrounding area of the body. And then you need to do long strokes on your whole lymph system is part of flushing what you're releasing from the body.
Otherwise, it'll just go in another part of your body.
It will go to wherever else you're holding too much tension and get blocked there.
Now, this energy, this invisible energy, which makes sense because our molecules are, 99% is that invisible energy, right?
Yes.
Or the information we don't know what it is. So that gets released in all other parts of your body, but eventually it gets into a system, gets into your blood system, or gets into, or just releases out of the body, or what happens with this
when
energy?
you're releasing, and what you're releasing is pent up tension, pent up, blocked, stored emotions, everything.
Suppressed emotions.
Yes, anything that you've ever, but from the time you're born.
You should have just told that you were mad. Just get it over with.
I'll slap you around a couple times and you're done.
Otherwise, I'm getting a $100 massage, all right? Either I'm going to tell you what I really want to say, or I'm getting a massage, one or the other.
So everything that you have ever suppressed, anytime you've been thwarted when you're being yourself, like a little kid is being their full self and somebody says, stop that, or that's bad, and they immediately, if it's from an authority figure that they love and respect, which is normally a parent or some other authority figure that's around a lot, a child will feel shame if they're told they're bad or what you're doing is bad.
And that gets stored somewhere.
And it goes, and every child is born wanting to please the people that they look up to and wanting to feel that love from them. So we learn very early how to change our natural selves into another way to be that's more pleasing. And depending on the intensity of how that's done, we all do that here and there.
Yeah.
But if you're told over and over and over again that you're bad or inappropriate, then you really start shutting down parts of yourself. So we store, anytime we're not being ourselves all the way, and we switch that to something else.
Which most people.
Yeah, most people, we all do that from
Yeah.
a young age. We
Yeah.
start doing that. Or anything that we don't process at the time, because when we're little, we have no tools to process these things people say to us or how they make us feel. So as a kid, we just go on to the next moment. We just keep trying to be in the moment if we can. But anything that's not processed fully or understood fully is stored in our body somewhere. And then and what they have to do with, the body will give you clues about what your issues are depending on where the tension is stored. And tension gets stored also from just repetitive physical action. You know, if you hammer all day long, you're going to have certain things that are happening in your body, up your hand, your arm, up into your neck and shoulders, probably your back. And then once certain things are affected, other things always go with it. If your neck and shoulders are all blocked up, you can bet your head and face are really tight and blocked up as well. And every single thing in the body is connected to every other thing. So I rarely ever do spot work on someone. I will for a minute in an exceptional case when somebody's in terrible pain and they just need to get through that. But I still always say to them, come back and let me give you the full treatment, because like you said, when you do release certain things, and I'll get back to answering that,
right.
When you're releasing this pent up and stored tension or energy in the body, it gets released back into the system. It eventually goes into the lymph system, and that's why you have to flush the entire system, treat the whole body and system as one to do the full job. Because if not, that same tension that you're releasing will go to the closest spot to it that is still blocked, and then it will manifest as another issue in that part of the body.
Why does it gravitate to the lymph nodes? And so you hear a lot of people saying they have a lot of problems with lymph nodes.
Well, lymph is like the garbage dump in the system. It's where all the toxins, and that's what else massage will do, is free up toxins like medications that you've taken since you were little or stored in your fat.
Yeah.
You know, so you're releasing all, and when I say toxins, I mean everything, unhealthy toxins that are in us, toxic energy, which is any kind of negative energy.
You have a couple layers of toxicity, you know, the physical toxins as well as the energetic toxins.
Yes. And as you work on
Emotional
the body,
toxins.
you trigger the emotions that put that thing there.
Oh. Yeah, you do that just by massaging, or do you you're whispering in their ear? You know?
Well, a little bit of both. No, if I never said a word. I've had lots of people over the years just burst out crying when I'm working in a certain area that's really potent for them, and a lot of the time, as that happens,
of release, not of pain.
No,
you know?
no, of release, literally.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, as I'm working that area, and they start remembering something. I've had that happen. I'll tell you one case. I had a friend in the islands who, when I first started working on her, I was up around her shoulders, and I was doing the center of her chest and out to her shoulders. And all of a sudden she gasped, I mean this huge gasp, and then just burst out hysterical crying. And so we took a few minutes, and I just kind of held her and let her cry. And then I knew nothing about any of this before. She told me this huge story. What came to her was when she was young, she was locked in a wooden box for a couple of days.
Oh, God.
And
by her parents?
Yeah.
That's like double. That's double damage right there.
Oh, can you imagine?
Parents are God to you. You know?
Yeah, every level of damage. I
yeah.
can't even imagine. And she had completely blocked that out.
Yeah.
But now we lived in the islands, and she said she had not been able to take a full breath since she could remember.
Oh my God.
And why she knew that was because she could never snorkel. Forget scuba diving, and she wanted to do it so badly, but she could not breathe fully. So she never did that, and she lived there for years and years. And after she had this release and cried and told me all that, she felt the air go down into her lungs to a place she had not ever remember experiencing. It had been blocked from going there because that's where the memory was. And you see, when the more severe your treatment or your issues are, as you start to block things, your breath automatically gets higher up in your body. If you watch a little baby, they breathe with their entire body. Watch a baby sleep. Their whole body inhales and exhales as they breathe.
Right.
And this is what you should learn doing yoga, is how to breathe like a baby again. So when you block emotions from yourself, your breath gets higher and higher in your chest, and you're not taking full breaths anymore. Well, this affects everything because oxygen is like the basis of our health in every cell of our body, you know. So she said this was the first time she felt like she could breathe for as long as she could remember.
That's amazing. That's life transformational. You know, you just don't go through that process and not. And when you have that type of awakening or revelation or whatever you want to call it, it changes your whole world because it was just suppressed in that one area. We had this type of trauma gets manifested somewhere in the body.
Absolutely. And aside from that, she lost 20 pounds in the next month without doing anything. That was the weight of the emotion she was carrying.
And she was feeding, and she was literally feeding.
Yes, and she learned how to snorkel after that. I mean, that to her was like such. She wanted to do that for years and couldn't.
When we get back from break, let's. I want to hear about your story. Maybe if you could recall your first massage and your experience, and when did you fall in love with massage?
Okay.
All right. We'll be right back with Susan McDowell, the owner of Magic Touch. McDowell with the Magic Touch. That's the name of her company, and also what she does. Again, you can reach her at what number again?
770-841-0698.
All right. And so we're just talking about massage therapy and the benefits of that and the impact of it. And so a question I asked before break was, so what was your experience like?
How I got into
Well, yeah. Do you remember having a massage, your first massage?
Actually, it's so.
I don't remember.
I was doing massage for years before I actually had my first professional massage.
Kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nobody did this back in the day.
Uh-oh.
Except a friend or something.
Right.
Which is kind of how I started into it. I never thought, oh, I'm going to be a massage therapist.
Yeah.
I never had that thought. It was just like, I swear, I felt like the spirit just kept opening doors and moved me into it. Right. But I feel like I always knew how to do it. I don't remember ever not knowing. And how it manifested, we used to have barbecues with the family down the street regularly. And Uncle Louie in the Briggs family used to ask me to massage his neck and head. And so the first time I was doing that, and then I was like going, okay, I'm going to go back outside now. And he goes, so he paid me $1. And then whenever I would want to leave, he'd say, I'll give you another $1.
You're good, Susan.
And so and I could see, and he would say that, you're really good at this. And I was a kid.
Yeah.
Then as a young teenager, I would babysit. And I could always put the children to sleep by massaging their head and face. And the parents would always be amazed that the kids were in bed when they got home. And they'd say, how'd you do that? And I always and I had 2 younger brothers who I babysat a lot. And I just always massaged kids. You know, it just felt natural. But then to see that it worked like that, I didn't think it was anything. But when people would make a big deal out of it, I thought, oh, that's kind of, I guess everybody doesn't do that. Then as I got older, I became friends with a lot of people from Pennsylvania who are musicians, and I started realizing then. So I would several times go to different concerts with them and stuff, and I realized that they each, according to the instrument they played, held their tension in different areas. So I would work on them before they'd go out. You know, they would get different guitar players always, you know, the shoulders and they're holding that weight. Saxophone players I find are very fascinating. They have some of the most developed muscle groups in their head, face, and neck of anyone I've ever seen. It's unbelievable because they use those muscles so much.
So many of them, yeah.
Yeah. So that taught me a lot.
That's why they end up looking like Louis Armstrong.
Yeah,
right?
with those cheeks. I love that so much.
So is there an energy, like, so I get it, the releasing of the toxins.
Yes.
And I also get it releasing of that I don't say toxic energy, but that energy has been stored because it hasn't been emotionally addressed and things like that.
Yeah.
But is there like a lot of people do Reiki, which is just energy work.
I'm a Reiki master also.
Okay. So explain that concept of when you're mixing Reiki in with the actual physical massage.
Well, you can't really separate it. Our energy is our matrix for our body. And the energy system of the body is what, like, if you look at the energy system, say in acupuncture, all the Oriental Asian medicine is based on our energy system, because that is the basis that the physical is built onto. It comes first. And if you look, it looks like, if you map it out, it looks like the nervous system. All the lines that the nerves go, that follows the energy system, but the energy system comes first. And when our body ceases to be, our energy continues on. We are energy at our basis.
Right.
So we're always working to get back to having
this optimum energy,
free flowing energy.
Okay, now what role does intention have in this process?
Well, our minds control every function of our body. We know that. We don't have to think about, oh, I got to make my heart beat. I better take a breath. I'm going to die.
Sometimes I do.
Yeah, once in a while.
My heartbeat not go off?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So many things happen automatically, but it's our brain that are sending those signals. And so if we learn how to take control of the processes of our thinking, we can directly affect our body in whatever way we wish.
So when you're doing your massage and you have your client there, and say you're not talking to him for whatever reason, you're just not, you're not like a typical psychotherapist where you're thinking about the beach and you're pretending like you're listening to the person, right? You're actually engaged.
I'm in their energy directly.
Energy. Yeah.
And I'm just feeling, and I really operate intuitively. I can literally just take my hands and just do a scan of the body really fast. And in less than a minute, I can just by one hand over like that, feel where the areas are that need my attention right away.
Wow.
I first of all can see so much of it.
Right.
I've learned to look at where is there not symmetry.
Now you're looking at auras at this point?
No, I don't even need to do that. Sometimes that will happen for me, but I'm literally with the physical eye. I scan the body and I look at wherever it's not symmetrical, or where if something is standing up higher, it shouldn't be.
Right.
So that, and the body should all be smooth and flowy, and wherever it's not needs attention. When you have hard spots, like muscles, shouldn't have these big hard spots. Even like a really pumped muscle should still have flexibility and ease to it.
Are there common themes where based on whatever emotional issue going on or trauma, whatever you want to call it, where certain parts of the body it will gravitate
Yes,
towards?
yes.
Give some examples.
That's what I meant about the body will always give you clues. And I use that when someone, if it's not just a physical repetitive exercise that put that there. If I
it's common as lower back and shoulders are common.
They're common.
And
Neck,
so
shoulders, lower back.
What's an indicator?
Okay, lower back right away. We'll go to that.
Okay.
Lower back is an indication, and these are based on the energy centers. You have 7 energy centers that go up the body.
Chakras,
exactly. Okay. And each one they affect the surrounding organs that are closest to it. And each one has to do with a particular part of your personality and a certain part of subject matter. So the lower back, the lower 2 chakras,
like sacral
have
and
to do
and root.
Yeah, and the sexual
and the
area,
okay.
the root and sacral.
So
exactly.
we have a lot of sexual problems if we have a lot of lower back problems. So you're saying?
Well, no, that it can be there if it's up a little higher. But that area basically has to do with physical security on all levels. So a lot of the time, if people are having money problems, if their job is in jeopardy, or if they can't find a job, or they hate their job, all of that will manifest in the lower back. I used to have a client who was up in a big company, and she was learning this. She'd been coming to me for years, and she told me at the time when all the financial stuff happened, they had to do layoffs, and they had this big meeting where they were informing the employees who was getting laid off.
Right.
She said she watched as the time went on how many people were holding and pressing their lower backs, and several of them, their backs went out when they got up off of their chair.
So when somebody comes into you with lower back, your first response is, what are you worried about?
Yeah.
So what about the shoulders? Is there anything particular to that?
The shoulders and the body is a simple language.
Yeah.
Imagine God gave us
that we ignore every
yes,
day.
we ignore, but it speaks to us in such simple terms.
Yeah.
And we are constantly getting messages and feedback from our body that people have learned to ignore. But when you have a whole lot of tension in your shoulders, it normally has to do with carrying a weight, and it particularly has to do with carrying a weight that is not yours, like carrying the weight of someone else.
Right.
Has to do with that
the
a
sins
lot.
of our fathers. Right? So that's interesting. So, and now, is there a difference between female and male energy? You found
Yes.
you find there's this different location where a lot of
Yes.
problems with females.
Well,
versus
the
males.
body is divided. The left side of the body is the female energy, and the right side of the body is the male energy. The female energy is the incoming
and
energy.
being left side, the heart is on the female side.
Of course.
Great, you guys get the heart. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
We get
though.
one advantage. We still have our periods and deliver babies and go through menopause.
But we got the heart.
But we do express ourselves a little better normally.
So true.
We're allowed to feel.
Yeah, you're allowed to feel. Yeah.
And that's one of the things that's shifting in the world today, is that to balance ourselves and this world, men are finally needing to learn that they need to feel. And so let me get back to the energies and what delineates them from one another. The female
side,
the female
right,
energy we'll do first. That's the left side,
right.
and that is the inflowing energy. So it's the ability to open, to receive, to be able to be vulnerable, to receive love, and it's being able to be, as opposed to male energy is doing. Female energy is being, and female energy is where the seat of creative energy comes from. We release and open to our creative energy in the female energy. Now, the ability to carry it out, to do something with the inspiration that we receive, is male energy. So that's the doing and the outflowing energy, the giving of love, the giving of yourself. That's all male energies. So that tells us something, which side of the body something's happening on. The heart, in the centers, you have 7 centers from that your tailbone up to the top of your head. Your heart is another chakra. In here are where all issues of love reside, and it's self-love. Any kind of lack of love will manifest in this area, and quite often, and then it goes through the body to the backside. So quite often when people get that stabbing pain behind their shoulder blades, they say, I feel like a knife's in my back.
Yeah.
So often, most of the time, that has to do with protecting your heart. And as we work that area, you'll usually find it very blocked up. I'll find hard spots back there, a lot of tension. The more the heart is blocked, the more I will feel it physically as well.
Yeah.
So I'll be working that out physically, and then I need to, if they're not getting better physically in one way, then I know we need to go to a deeper level with them. And I always ask permission. Would you, and I explain to them, that to get really to the root of this, if we really want to heal this so it doesn't keep coming back. And what else the body does too is if you do relieve it in one area, but you don't deal with the root cause of it, it will just manifest in another area. Where people know sickness happens that way as well. When an area has been blocked for so long, it just builds and builds and builds until something breaks down. And that can be initially a cold, a headache, sinus problems. Those are lesser blockages. And if you don't listen to your body at a certain place, that can turn into a heart attack, cancer, much more severe. Those are indications that you've gone a long time without listening to a major part of yourself.
Right. Yeah, and it's kind of obvious to see if you're in tune to that, you can notice that yourself.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So it's amazing how many people actually go through life every day, pile up this emotional buildup, as well as this emotional suppression, and they have an easy way to release that, because now, even though you're releasing it at that moment, building up, but if you're still putting those thoughts are still there, looping and believing that that whatever that belief
you're
may be,
stuck in the pattern.
you're just going to build it back up again.
Exactly.
So
you need to learn.
It's a temporary relief until you really go to the true root of why you're manifesting this.
Yes, and I can help release and change those patterns in a therapy session. But those patterns will reset themselves again if you don't change the thoughts you've been thinking about that
The
thing.
neural pathways. So you must get a real positive feedback or gratification from when you're
It's
not
so
only
rewarding.
not only when you release that energy in there, but you release that pattern of thinking.
Oh my God, it changes that person's life immediately.
To me, that would be the whole reason. That's why you really want to do what you're doing.
Absolutely is. Yeah, I like to go at it. It's freeing your soul, literally.
Yeah.
It's from every which way. And we must address physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual to do that.
So the next time you go to a massage therapist and you just want to get that little ache out of your shoulders, think a little bit deeper of what's going on and why it keeps coming back, and perhaps go to somebody who's talented enough to be able to help you reach that moment of revelation.
I wanted to, when you were talking about how this developed, I wanted to tell you how it went deeper.
Well, let's take another quick break, and then I
Okay.
want to hear about it going deeper.
Okay.
So we'll be right back with Susan McDowell, the magic touch. All right. Boom. Here we are, Susan McDowell in the house. So we're going deeper now into therapy, and then we have to talk about that. Let's talk a little bit about how old you could be when you should get massages, or how young,
from
young
birth.
you could be.
You can, you can massage your baby when they're in your belly. And that just feels good to you and the baby.
Yeah.
Every baby loves massage. Of course, it would be much lighter.
Yeah.
But it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. I've even heard when my kids were little, and you're going to kill me because I can't. It's been a long time since they were that size. But I learned then there were areas on the body that you can only reach at that age that would stimulate their memories for a long time after. And I can't. Of course, I could do that more to my first baby than the second, because then I had a toddler there.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but my youngest, or my oldest, Shanti, she had like a photographic memory for most of her childhood.
Wow.
I mean, I could ask her. She started after she had a baby. Her memory wasn't as much as it used to be, but I could count. We would always say, Naomi and I, my other daughter, if we wanted to know something, call Shanti. And Shanti could not only tell you exactly what that person said that day, but she would tell you exactly what they had on.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
could have been. You're saying could have been stimulated through that massage.
I can
believe
just tell you, I
Yeah.
did that,
Right.
and she did that.
Well, I experimented.
but
I experimented with my kids too, in different ways, but just in reference to like.
just let love lead
Yeah,
you. When
yeah.
you have a baby, just let your natural
Yeah.
love, and the baby will show you. If they don't like it, they're going to cry.
Yeah.
You know, so just let your love be easy with yourself. Just relax and let your love let you do what it feels natural to you
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
time.
Who doesn't like engaging in that affection with their child?
Oh, it's so wonderful.
So you say we're going to go a little deeper. Where are we going?
I wanted to talk about, as I got into actually doing massage, I was always taught from within before I ever got official credentials. That I was doing professional massage for many years before I actually got official credentials. So everything that I do was taught to me by my inner guidance. And something that happened early on when I started working at Kinneal Bay Plantation in St. John, I was working on people, and I would get these pictures in my head. And so it taught me that the body was like plumbing and electricity. That plumbing, you wanted to clear all the clogs in the pipes so that the water would flow. And like plumbing, the place where people are most blocked is wherever the body turns. Like, wherever there's an angle or a turn on the body, just like where there's a turn in a pipe is where the clog will most likely be. So I learned, I would see that in my mind. And then there was a woman that came to me, and this was the next part that really got me going. I saw like the electrical system, and this is like the nerves in the body. And it's electricity. Energy is like electricity.
Yeah.
So this woman came to me. I was very new doing massage professionally at one of the top places in the world to learn.
Where's that?
Kinneal Bay. No,
Okay.
not a massage place, but I was working at Kinneal Bay. They hired me before I was even official.
Gotcha.
Because I had worked on the person there who does that hiring, and she just got me in there. So
She knew talent when she saw it.
so I'm working on people from all over the world, and they're all basically wealthy, and a lot of them had massage rooms in their homes, and they've had massages from all over the world. So imagine the pressure that I had never had a professional massage yet, and I'm giving these and wondering, am I good enough?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, of course.
And then that was one of the best places I could start because I got nothing but amazing feedback constantly. So this woman came to me, and she came in, and she had one shoe on and one slipper on. And she said, my other shoe is in my purse. And she told me, I've been carrying it in my purse for 3 years. And she said, I had surgery on this foot 3 years ago. And the swelling, and then when you look at it, it was bright red and very swollen compared to the other foot. And she said, it never went away. But I carry my shoe in my purse as a vote of faith that somebody's going to be able to heal this one day. So I'm working on her, and I get to the foot. And she said, and she it turns out she was very intuitive, and she said, oh, you're almost there. Just let yourself open and let it flow. And it like gave me permission to go inside of myself and really let my energy flow. And as I did that, I saw a picture in my mind of a hot wire in her foot that had been cut.
Ooh.
And so in my mind, as I'm working on it, I'm imagining I'm reconnecting this hot wire, and then I'm flushing out all of the fluid and everything that had built up from that wire, all those years of that wire being disconnected.
Right.
So the red eased down, calmed down. The swelling was going out of her foot. I could feel this right under my hands as I was doing this. When she was done, and I remember her saying as I was doing it and seeing it, she said, "That's it, that's it." She could tell I was doing it.
Wow.
And so when I was all done, left my office, she got dressed, I came back in, she had the other shoe on. And she said, and she hugged me and hugged me and hugged me, and she said, "I knew it was going to be you."
Wow.
And she said, "I have to tell you, I don't usually get massages in these, resort places."
Sure.
And she said, "I woke up in the night last night and a voice said to me, 'You go make a massage appointment.'" And she said, "That's the only reason I'm here."
Wow, that's incredible, and what a testimony too, and what an experience for you to have. Because tell me that just didn't give you that sense of confidence.
Well,
and,
that's
and
what Keneal
appreciation.
gave me, confidence in myself,
Right.
and allowed me to fully listen. It proved to me that everything I learned from within
Right.
was not only valid but amazing.
Sure.
And then when I did finally get accredited and all of that, I realized what my inner guidance taught me was 1,000 times more than you get from school.
Wow. So last few minutes of the show, let's talk a little bit about relationships and what because massages are considered not so much for the wealthy, but for the people who have some extra income they could throw down. But what about for some people who don't have much income, but they understand the importance of a massage, and especially in relationships? Because in relationships, you have that intimate relationship with somebody. You're used to them touching your body, they're touching you, you're touching their body, and even though they don't have the experience of the details of how to do a massage, what are some, like, 1, 2, 3 ABCs that the partners can do with each other just to help maybe release some of that and get in that process to where, hey, you know what,
Again, let love lead you,
right.
because when you're in a state of love, you're the most open. You're literally open, which is what it takes for your intuition to be working, and then get feedback with each other. Just do what feels naturally, and then say, "Is this helping?" And some people have an innate ability. Some of the best massages I've ever had were from people with no professional training.
Right.
They just had that innate
Intuition.
openness and intuitive ability. And some of the worst massages I've had were from people who know everything,
Yeah.
but they had no intuition
Yeah.
or ability. They could speak about every muscle of the body, but they didn't know exactly where the points
Because they
were.
weren't present with the person at that moment. Yeah.
Well, it's within themselves.
Themselves,
It has to happen. There's
Right.
something that you must bring to it that's you.
Yeah.
But there are some general things. When you start, percussion is always a nice way to start, like tapping. You could make like a loose fist and do little punches almost, up, and that's percussion.
Yeah.
You can do it where everybody's seen like the karate
Yeah,
chop
yeah,
type percussion. That's a good way to break up outer levels and inner. It just loosens up generally the body, and it's not normally painful to anyone to do that. So that's a good start. From there, flat-handed long strokes are another. These are very non-invasive techniques, and you always want to soften the muscles before you do deeper work.
With oils.
Yes, oils are great, lotions.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So you want to soften things before you go deeply. If some people go to a massage therapist and they go right in on them with their elbow or their thumb, and that hurts. You could do that same thing in a few minutes if you first soften the outer layers.
That's great advice. And so if you're out there and you're new to this, start with your spouse or your significant other, and just try it, and then work yourself up to a Susan or whatever the case may be to get out there. So anyway, real quick, how can somebody reach you if they want?
770-841-0698.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the show as
Always
usual.
a joy. Always.
And I think I'm going to get a massage here now. All right. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll all talk to you soon. Have a great week. See you tomorrow, actually.
Peace out.